The day my mother slammed the front door in my face and told me I was no longer her daughter, the summer sun was shining so brightly that it felt cruel. I stood on the porch with tears blurring my vision, clutching the hand of the man I loved, while the people who had raised me looked at me as if I had become a stranger. My father refused to meet my eyes. My brother turned away. My mother's final words cut deeper than anything I had ever heard. She told me that if I married him, I would no longer have a family. 9 years later, she appeared on my doorstep with a list of demands. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, take a moment to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire for more emotional and inspiring stories. My name is Celeste Whitmore, and 9 years ago I lost everything I thought mattered because I fell in love with a man named Malcolm Reed. It happened during one of the brightest seasons of my life. I was 26 years old, working as a project coordinator at a community development organization. Malcolm was an architect volunteering on a neighborhood revitalization project. He was intelligent, patient, funny, and carried himself with a quiet confidence that made everyone around him feel comfortable. The first thing I noticed about him was how he listened. Not the kind of listening where someone waits for their turn to speak. He genuinely listened. He remembered details. He cared about people. For nearly a year, our relationship grew naturally. We spent long afternoons walking through city parks, talking about dreams, family, and the future. We planned road trips. We shared books. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. I thought my family would eventually see what I saw. Instead, they saw only the color of his skin. The day I introduced Malcolm to my parents remains burned into my memory. The air was warm. Birds chirped outside the dining room window. Everything seemed peaceful until my mother's smile disappeared the moment Malcolm stepped through the door. The atmosphere changed instantly. Polite conversation turned cold. Questions became accusations disguised as concern. The evening ended with forced smiles and uncomfortable silence. After Malcolm left, the truth came out. My parents told me they would never accept the relationship. At first, I believed they would change. Weeks turned into months. Arguments became routine. Family dinners became battlegrounds. Holidays became unbearable. Then Malcolm proposed. On a beautiful sunny afternoon beside a lake sparkling beneath the daylight sky, he knelt down and asked me to spend my life with him. I said yes without hesitation. My family responded exactly as I feared. They gave me an ultimatum. Them or Malcolm. I chose love. The wedding took place on a bright spring morning. Malcolm's family welcomed me with open arms. His parents treated me like their own daughter. His cousins danced, laughed, and celebrated our future together. My side of the aisle remained almost completely empty. I tried not to cry when I saw the vacant seats. But Malcolm squeezed my hand and reminded me that family is not always defined by blood. That lesson would carry me through the hardest years of my life. The beginning of our marriage was not easy. Without support from my family, every challenge felt heavier. When Malcolm lost a major client, we struggled financially. We sold furniture to cover bills. We skipped vacations. We counted every dollar. When our daughter Amara was born, medical expenses piled up faster than we could manage. There were nights we sat at our kitchen table surrounded by overdue notices, wondering how we would survive another month. Yet somehow we always found a way. Malcolm worked extra projects. I took freelance assignments after putting Amara to bed. We sacrificed comfort for stability. Slowly, our situation improved. Years passed. Our tiny apartment became a modest house. Our savings account finally began to grow. Our daughter filled every room with joy. She inherited Malcolm's warm smile and my stubborn determination. Life wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. Meanwhile, my family remained silent. No birthday cards. No holiday calls. No visits. 9 years of complete absence. The silence hurt at first. Then it became normal. Eventually, I stopped expecting anything. I focused on the family I had built rather than the one I had lost. Then one bright Saturday afternoon, everything changed. The sun streamed through our living room windows while Amara worked on a school project at the dining table. I was folding laundry when the doorbell rang. I opened the door and froze. My mother stood there. Older. Thinner. Gray streaks running through her hair. For a moment, neither of us spoke. 9 years of silence stood between us. My heart pounded. Part of me wanted to slam the door. Another part wanted to cry. She looked at me as though she expected an immediate embrace. Instead, I simply waited. She asked if she could come inside. Against my better judgment, I agreed. As she entered, her eyes moved across the house. The photographs. The family portraits. The signs of a happy life. I noticed something strange. She wasn't looking at me. She wasn't even looking at Amara. She was evaluating. Calculating. Measuring. That uneasy feeling in my stomach grew stronger. Within minutes, I learned why she had come. It wasn't because she missed me. It wasn't because she regretted the years we had lost. It wasn't because she wanted to know her granddaughter. She needed money. My father had suffered major financial losses. Their retirement savings had nearly vanished. Debt was piling up. She explained everything with remarkable detail. Then she looked directly at me and said that family should help family. The irony nearly took my breath away. Family. The same family that had erased me from their lives. The same family that never called when I struggled. The same family that ignored the birth of my child. Now they remembered I existed. I listened quietly. When she finished, I asked a simple question. Had she come to apologize? She looked confused. As if the possibility had never crossed her mind. The room fell silent. Outside, children laughed somewhere down the street. Inside, years of pain sat heavily between us. She began explaining how difficult things had been for them. How circumstances were complicated. How pride had gotten in the way. But nowhere in her explanation was there genuine accountability. No acknowledgment of the damage. No recognition of what they had done. Only excuses. For the first time in my life, I saw my mother clearly. Not as the powerful figure from my childhood. Not as the woman whose approval I desperately sought. Just a flawed human being facing the consequences of her choices. I told her about the nights Malcolm and I worried about losing our apartment. I told her about hospital bills. I told her about birthdays she missed. School performances she never attended. A granddaughter she chose not to know. Tears filled her eyes. But I continued. I explained that love cannot survive where acceptance is conditional. Family cannot exist only when convenient. Relationships require effort from both sides. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then something changed. The walls around her seemed to crack. For the first time since arriving, she stopped defending herself. She stopped making excuses. And she cried. Not polite tears. Not manipulative tears. Real tears. She admitted she had been wrong. She admitted that prejudice had blinded her. She admitted that fear of judgment from friends and relatives had mattered more to her than her own daughter. Hearing those words did not erase the pain. Nothing could return the lost years. Nothing could replace missed birthdays and forgotten holidays. But it mattered. It mattered because truth had finally entered the room. The conversation lasted for hours. By evening, Malcolm returned home. I watched nervously as my mother faced the man she had rejected nearly a decade earlier. To my surprise, Malcolm treated her with dignity. Not because she deserved it, but because that was the kind of man he was. His grace humbled everyone present, including me. Over the following months, rebuilding began. Slowly. Carefully. Without guarantees. My mother met Amara properly for the first time. She attended school events. She joined family dinners. She learned stories she should have known years earlier. Trust did not return overnight. Some wounds remained. Some conversations were painful. But progress happened one step at a time. Eventually, I learned something important. Forgiveness is not pretending the hurt never happened. Forgiveness is choosing not to let the hurt control your future. That doesn't mean every relationship should be restored. Some cannot be. Some should not be. But in our case, genuine remorse opened a door that had once seemed permanently locked. And although we never recovered the 9 lost years, we made the most of the years that remained. Today, when I watch my mother laughing with Amara in the backyard beneath the afternoon sun, I sometimes think about that terrible day when I stood on her porch feeling abandoned. Back then, I thought losing my family was the end of my story. I didn't realize it was the beginning of a better one. Because the family I built with Malcolm taught me what unconditional love truly looks like. And that lesson became stronger than rejection, stronger than prejudice, and stronger than the years we lost. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire for more powerful stories about family, love, and redemption. Special request: comment below with the words, "Love is stronger," if you believe people can change and that kindness can heal even the deepest wounds. Sometimes the people who hurt us most become the people who teach us the greatest lessons. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't proving others wrong. It's building a beautiful life despite their doubts, then having the courage to keep your heart open when they finally find their way back. This version is designed for an emotional YouTube narration and runs close to the requested long-form storytelling style.